done me to evils, and my people have done me so wrong. They've forsaken me the fount of living water, to our systems that won't last long. My people have done me to evils, and my people have done me so wrong. They've forsaken me the fount of living water, to our systems that won't last long. Oh, Jerusalem, oh, Jerusalem, I would gather you like a extended by my hand. Yet you stoned all the prophets I sent you. They were good, worthy, mortal men. My love for you unto is without measure. 'Tis a love without beginning or end. I would have given you your transgressions, cast in a sea of forgetfulness your sin. My people have done me to evils, and my people have done me so wrong. They have forsaken me the fount of living water, hewed our systems that won't last long. My people have done me to evils, and my people have done me so wrong. They have forsaken me the fount of living water, our systems that won't last long. Systems that won't last long. Systems that won't last long.
Good evening. We will continue to speak about the history of the marginalization of the African American in United States history after the Civil War. Nothing epitomizes this brutality as much as widespread lynchings throughout the South, and in some instances in the North after the Civil War and after Congressional Reconstruction. 4,743 is the number of persons Tuskegee University documents as being lynched in the United States from 1882 to 1968. Some would argue that this lynching takes a different form today and is guised as the death penalty and more perniciously as stand your ground legislation and widespread police abuses. In our discussing of removing this reproach and looking at alternatives to mass incarceration and promulgating a policy toward de-incarceration, we take time to look at the issue of lynching as a form of genocide. Perhaps it is high time that we do some reviewing. What precisely is lynching? Lynching involves a mob of people who kills someone, especially by hanging, for an alleged offense with or without a legal trial. In today's lexicon, it would be the ultimate hate crime. Wikipedia describes lynching this way: lynching is a premeditated extrajudicial killing by a group. It is most often used to characterize informal public executions by a mob in order to punish an alleged transgressor or to intimidate a group. It is an extreme form of an informal group social control such as charivari, riding the rail, and tarring and feathering, and often conducted with the display of a public spectacle for maximum intimidation. It is to be considered an act of terrorism and punishable by law. Instances of lynchings and similar mob violence can be found in every society. In the United States, lynching of African Americans, typically by hanging, became frequent in the South during the period after Reconstruction era, and especially during the decades on either side of the turn of the 20th century. At the time, Southern states were passing new constitutions and laws to disenfranchise African Americans, and and imposed legal segregation and Jim Crow rule. Most lynchings were conducted by white mobs against black victims, often suspects taken from jail before they were tried by an all-white jury, or even before arrest. The political message, the promotion of white supremacy and black powerlessness, was an important element of the ritual. Lynchings were photographed and published as postcards, which were popular souvenirs in the United States to expand the intimidation of the acts. Victims were sometimes shot, burned alive, or otherwise tortured and mutilated in the public events. In some cases, the mutilated body parts were taken as mementos by the spectators. Particularly in the West, other minorities, Native Americans, Mexicans, and Asians were also lynched. The South had the states with the highest total number of lynchings. Perhaps you are wondering at this point about the relationship between genocide and mass incarceration. Let me assure you, genocide and mass incarceration goes hand in hand. When the former is deemed impractical, the latter becomes inevitable. And along the way, we find the processes which lead to either genocide or mass incarceration, the devaluation of the lives of a group of persons the majoritarian culture deems to be unfit, untoward, and unnecessary. Let us remember the definitions. Genocide is the deliberate killing of a large group of people, especially those of a particular ethnic group or nation. Mass incarceration is the imprisonment of large proportions of a population, used in particular with reference to the significant increase in the rate of incarceration in the United States in the late 20th century. Let's hear the poem of Paul Laurence Dunbar. It's called The Haunted Oak. Pray why you are so bare, so bare, O bough of the old oak tree, and why when I go through the shade you throw runs a shadow over me. My leaves were green as the best I thrive. A sap ran free in my veins, but I say in the moonlight dim and weird, a guiltless victim's pains. I bent me down to hear his sigh. I shook with his gurgling moan, and I trembled sore when they rode away and left him here alone. They charged him with the old crime and set him fast in jail. Or why does the dog howl all night long, and why does the night wind wail? He prayed his prayer and he swore his oath, and he raised his hand to the sky. But the beat of hoofs smote on his ears, and the steady tread drew nigh. Who is it rides by night over the moonlit road? And what is the spur that keeps the pace? What is the galling goad? And now they beat at the prison door. Ho, keeper, do not stay. We are friends of him whom you hold within, and we fain would take him away. From those who ride fast on our heels, with mind to do him wrong. They have no care for his innocence, and the rope they bear is long. They have fooled the jailer with lying words, they have fooled the man with lies. The bolt of the bar, the locks are drawn, and the great door open flies. Now they have taken him from the jail, and hard and fast they ride, and the leader laughs low down in his throat as they halt my trunk beside. Oh, the judge, he wore a mask of black, and the doctor one of white, and the minister with his eldest son was curiously bedight. O foolish man, why weep ye now? 'Tis but a little space, and the time will come when these shall dread the memory of your face. I feel the rope against my bar, and the weight of him in my grain. I feel in the throes of his final woe the touch of his own last pain. And never more shall leaves from forth on the bough that bears the band. I'm burned with dread, I'm dry and dead from the curse of a guiltless man. And ever the judge rides by and goes to hunt the deer. And ever another rider his soul in the guise of a mortal fear. And ever the man he rides me hard, and never a night stays he. For I feel his curse as a haunted bough on the trunk of a haunted tree.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you for watching this video, Remove This Reproach. I'd like for you to press the like button, make a comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. In the future, we'll have a giveaway for you. We already have one for the new year, and we will be announcing it and putting it in the link. Thank you very much.